Many years ago, the great red chaos whale wrecked the warship known as Manon's Trident, killing all on board except for Captain Auber Walblatt. Now Captain Walblatt is on a crusade of revenge to find and kill the great red chaos whale. He stumbles upon what he believes to be the whale's lair. Unfortunately, he is trespassing upon a long-forgotten empire. What's up, Mecha Squad? Hope y'all are doing well and hope you enjoyed the cinematic. Today, we are covering the Crustacean Nation mod. Like all the mods we showcase here, we play a full campaign using these mods live over on my Twitch. I have thousands of hours in the game. We play on Legendary, Very Hard, and Iron Man. So feel free to stop by, ask any questions you have about mods, or if you need tips on how to get better at the game, or if you just want to experience a new, unique campaign. You'll also see a lot of mod creators from some of your favorite mods hanging out in chat. They always like to see their mods in action. So drop a follow and I'll see you there. The Crustacean Nation mod is a super fun mod that lets you play as a crab themed faction. It basically gives you a full-on new, unique faction to play with its own unit roster, lords, heroes, custom lore of magic, technology, unique items, hilarious custom art, and more. You'll have 4 legendary crab lords to choose from, each with their own starting positions and unique faction effects. You'll also have the additional option to increase the difficulty beyond what you choose in the campaign settings. First up, we got King Crab of the Crustacean Court. King Crab has a duty to his people to bring back the lost glory days of the Crustacean Kingdom and secure a future for all of crab kind. He acts much like a typical king would, getting increased tribute from his vassals and other bonuses, as well as giving boosts to crab royalty units. He starts up north between the Empire and Norska. Next we have Reef Speaker for the Sentinels of the Great Reef. While others engage in their petty squabbles, the Reef Speaker hears the Great Reef cry out in pain. He will stop at nothing in his quest to save it. This lord is a spellcaster that specializes in healing the reef, giving bonuses to heal corruption and increase replenishment, and also gets a unique building chain that helps boost the crab's economy. They start in Lustria, surrounded by enemies including rats, vampires, chaos, and more. And then we have Old Kelpbeard of the Ancient Wardens. The oldest and wisest of all the Leviathans, Old Kelpbeard awakens from his long rest to aid crabkind in dire times. Ahead of him is the difficult task of finding and awakening other great Leviathan elders. He He's an ancient Leviathan that specializes in boosting other Leviathans. Very fun campaign if you like giant crabs, as he can unlock unique Leviathans through special quests. They start next to the last defenders surrounded by Skaven. And then we have Tide Lord Arthron of the Tide Lords Fellowship. Younger brother of King Crab, Tide Lord Arthron leads a campaign to the far eastern lands of Grand Cathay. Maybe a successful conquest is just what he needs to earn his well-deserved place on the Crustacean throne. This crab is all about gaining infamy and trying to step out of his brother's shadow. He gets a variety of bonuses for each battle, from instantly recruitable units to increased gold. They start in southern Cathay, just north of Koresh. Now taking a closer look at the characters and units, starting off with the Lords and Heroes. King Crab, the one and only monarch of the Crustacean Kingdom. Starting stats here are okay, nothing crazy, but he does get a lot of cool custom abilities like Royal Decree, which gives a melee attack bonus to nearby allies, the Crusty Scepter, which is a strong missile attack, and the Crustacean Crown, which gives armor and ward save for nearby crabs. He does also get a unique Royal Leviathan mount, which gives him quite a stats boost at the expense of being more expensive and being a bigger target. Reef Speaker. One of the strongest spellcasters that the crabs have, Reef Speaker specializes in support spells and abilities, and has many unique ones, such as Awakening of the Reef, which is an area of effect ability that simultaneously heals your units and damages the enemies. He also has Staff of the Great Reef, which gives you power recharge and power reserve whenever he is casting. He also gets a Barded Spider Crab mount option. This lord does also have the Lore of Shell spell line, which is one of the 2 unique Lore of spells that this faction has, and I'll show you these different spells in action in a second when I get to the generic spellcaster lord, so just hold on. Old Kelp Beard. With a beard that would make some dwarfs blush, the eldest of the elders still lives on. The most ancient of the Leviathans, Kelpbeard is a monstrous spellcaster with the Lore of Claw spell line, and again, I'll give you a breakdown of these different spell lines in a second. He also comes with a few unique abilities like Ancient Scrolls, which decreases cooldowns and miscast chance while increasing spell mastery. He also has Arcane Spell Shell, which gives power recharge and reserves, while also imbuing magical attacks and simultaneously negating enemies' magical attacks within range. Tide Lord Arthron. To command a fleet is one thing, to rule the tides is another. He gives King Crab a run for his money stats-wise, and also comes with multiple unique abilities, including Peerless Swordplay, giving bonus melee attack, melee defense, and bonus versus infantry. Wave Cutter, which imbues him with Sundered Armor, and increases damage and armor piercing by 75%. He also gets 40% ward save with Ancestral Spell Shield, and when he's close to death, Tide Plate of the Ancient kicks in, giving him healing, 20% ward save, and increased vigor. He also gets a unique mount named Azure Fang, giving a solid boost to his stats. Crustacean Prophet of the Claw. Leaders of the Crustacean faith, revered for their wisdom as well as their arcane might. Okay, so like I was saying, there's actually 2 unique lores of magic that these crabs use. This particular prophet uses Lore of the Claw, which focuses more on offensive spells.
Enemy with owls! Beware the wizard! Look out, spellcaster! Enemy wizard spotted! They're casting spells! Beware the wizard! Look out, spellcaster! Enemy wizard spotted! Keep your heads down, men! They're casting...
And then we have Crustacean Prophet of the Shell. This is the crab's other lore of magic called Lore of the Shell. It's pretty much the opposite of the previous one, as this one focuses more on support spells. And by the way, these spellcaster lords also get a spider crab mount option.
Down, men! They're casting spells! Shalia, protect us! Enemy wizard spotted! Down, men! They're casting spells! Enemy wizard spotted! Beware the wizard! Look out!
Crustacean Warlord. A veteran of many battles, charging into battle, be it to lead his forces or dispatch of the foes by himself. A classic heavy-hitting generic lord with good armor and good damage. They come with a unique explosion ability called Shell Bash and have a barded spider crab mount option. Crustacean Noble. The nobility of the Crustacean Kingdom served their nation as both administrators and generals. A more refined generic lord who comes with a royal spider crab mount option. Crustacean Royal Guard Captain. Elite members of the Crustacean Royal Guard, well disciplined and unmatched in combat. A great anti-large hero that looks pretty sleek and also gets a royal spider crab mount. Hardshell Champion. The strongest and largest warriors from among the Hardshell earn the title of Champion, signifying their numerous victories. A large gladiator-like crab hero that hits hard and has a unique crustacean cluster bomb ability that helps with blending up enemies. Now taking a look at the melee infantry. Crab Levy. When a call to arms is issued, all crabkin answer the call. The most basic unit that the crabs have easy access to. Stats wise, nothing to write home about obviously, as it's just one of the starting units. Reef Snappers. One of the lesser strains of crustaceans, while small, their razor-sharp claws can pierce through even plates of solid steel. A cheap early-game expendable unit that has some usefulness with a little bit of armor piercing. Crab Warriors. The bulk of the Crustacean Kingdom's military, they dutifully serve their kingdom. A small level up from the previous Crab Levy unit with all-around better stats with basic shielding and armor. A solid early game unit for the crabs. Ironclaw Warrior Monks. Through rigorous training and discipline, the Ironclaw Warrior Monks forego the need for weapons, embracing the age-old tradition of solving problems by slicing them with your claws. A different early game infantry unit with less armor than the previous Crab Warrior, but with greater attack stats, so they hit a little bit harder. Shadowclaw Assassins. Assassins of the secretive Shadowclaw sect, rarely spoken of, always feared. The first regiment of renown we're covering here, compared to the regular Ironclaw Warrior Monks that we just looked at, these guys have all-around better stats and a super cool, edgy look. Disciples of the Claw. The way of the Claw teaches directness, confrontation, and swift resolutions. These fanatical warriors embody these principles without fail. A great mid to late game armor-piercing infantry unit, they use their martial prowess of the Claw to tear through opponents. Disciples of the Shell. Devout followers of the Way of the Shell, which teaches patience and peace in all things. Their resilience is the stuff of legends. The opposite of the previous unit, these crabs focus on the defensive side of battle with high armor and defense. The Ironclaw Council. The pinnacle of the Iron Claw arts involves uniting the wisdom of Shell and Claw in perfect balance and wielding them together. Another regiment of renown, this one is unique as it combines both of the last two unit strengths into one, giving this unit high armor, high attacks, and high defense. Crustacean Royal Guard. The very best the Crustacean military has to offer, handpicked by the Royal Court. A high-tier Royal Crab unit coming with solid stats, able to hold the line for the Crab Kingdom. Crustacean Royal Guard Halberds. The same as the previous unit, but outfitted for anti-large capabilities. Next, looking at the range units. Crab Levy Slingers. The sling is an often underestimated weapon. It is, however, just as deadly as any other. The lowest tier unit of all the range units for the crabs, cheap and easy to recruit. Crustacean Bombers. Carrying volatile explosives, these battle engineers bring devastation to enemy formations in close range. When you need a little more oomph for your ranged units. Crab Warriors Javelins. A solid early game anti-large ranged unit. Pretty simple. Crustacean Gunners. As if the razor-sharp claws were not enough, these crabs carry firearms on par with those used by any human nation. I played this mod since it was released, so I've been able to see the changes in units that have been added in, including this unit. I wasn't sure how the guns were going to be implemented, but I'm actually happy with how they turned out with the guns being added on top of their shells. Pretty cool. Crustacean Slingers. The sling, usually considered to be a peasant weapon, with enough practice can become a true force to be reckoned with. The highest tier of range infantry that the crabs have, overall much better stats than the basic slingers, these crabs actually have decent range and some armor. Crab Cannons. Launching a cannonball is not the most refined way of solving an issue, but it is the most effective one. Typical cannons that you can find in most factions, however, these ones have a nice custom look with the little crab statue being added on top of the cannons. Norseman's Dirge. There's a good reason why Northerners don't often invade crustacean lands. A quick death is one of the more merciful fates awaiting them. The Regiment of Renown version of the crab cannons, not only do they come with better stats, they also deal out poison damage. Shell Crackers. At one point, crustacean engineers wished to find out how many barrels a cannon could reasonably have. The answer was yes. A field gun for the crabs. For a field gun, they have pretty huge barrels and fire massive shells, trading range for higher damage output. Kraken Collar. A marvel of both sorcery and engineering, the Kraken Collar calls upon the ancient ties of the Invertebrate Alliance to bring tentacly death to crabkind's enemies. The best ranged weapon that the crabs have, a huge cannon that fires a water blast that, once it lands, a Kraken ability is summoned on the spot, doing AoE damage for a short period of time. Now looking at the cavalry units. Spider Crab Riders. The spider crabs are a distant relative to the sentient, civilized crabs, making them reliable mounts. The basic cavalry unit for the crabs, compared to other basic cavalry units from other factions, these stats aren't too shabby. Crustacean Knights. Seeking fame and recognition through great deeds in combat, these knights dream of one day being chosen to join the Royal Guard. The next step for the crabs cavalry, coming with better armor and attack, but slightly less speed. Crustacean Royal Knights. Icons of military prowess, elite even among the Royal Guard, fearlessly charging into battle to combat the most dire threats. The best tiered cavalry the crabs have to offer, coming with armor piercing and thick armor. Now getting into the monstrous side of the faction. Hardshell Colossi. Close cousins of the more civilized smaller crabs, what the hardshells lack in intellect, they more than make up for in raw strength and ferocity. With armor piercing, this is a very solid early game monster unit. Hardshell Bruisers. With the right equipment and training, the already formidable Colossi can become virtually unbeatable combatants. Stronger than the previous unit in every way, coming with thicker armor and harder hitting. Black Gulf Gladiators. Some of the most fearless, brutal, and powerful crustaceans one could hope to find. The regiments of renown of the hardshell bruisers. Like a typical regiment of renown, they have better stats. On top of that, these lads have anti-large bonus. Hardshell cannonbacks. With cannons mounted on their backs and deadly claws in hand, there's no distance at which the cannonbacks aren't a threat. Monstrous crabs combined with mobile cannons make for a very fun unit. Ancient Leviathan. The most elder of all crab kind, great in size, strength, as well as wisdom, honored and respected by all of their younger kin. A pretty simple monster unit that you would come to expect from a crab faction, very similar to what the Vampire Coast has, so nothing too crazy here. Old Powderback. One of the unique ancient Leviathans. Not only does he have a cool look, he packs a punch both with range and melee. On top of that, he's also a spellcaster. In fact, all the unique named Leviathans come with spells. Old Hardshell. The sheer size of this ancient warrior is enough to deter most foes from even attempting to fight him. The tankiest of the big crabs, this guy looks super sick, all armored up. He comes with more armor and melee damage output than any of the other Leviathans. Old Chaos Bane. Chaos never sleeps, neither does he. This Leviathan has a dope look, looking very battle hardened and edgy. He comes with magical attacks and spells as well. Old Ironclaw. This Leviathan is probably the least interesting out of the named Leviathans. Nothing super unique about him stats wise, but he does have a cool giant cape. The Krakenmeister. Don't speak to me of the Invertebrate Alliance, young one. I was there when it was forged. Definitely the coolest regiment of renown unit on the list, combining the crab's best artillery with a powerful Leviathan, giving you the best of both worlds. Thanks for watching and have fun in your campaigns. If you're still listening to the end here, thank you so much especially. And again, stop by my Twitch to hang out anytime, ask any questions you have. We also got some cool ass merch, so make sure you peep that as well. Until next time, Mecha Squad,